Hey there and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. Being in the 8th grade is such an incredible point in your life. You're getting more independence, you're making more of your own decisions, and you're really starting to figure out exactly who you are and what you stand for. But with all that growing independence comes a pretty huge responsibility. So let's just dive right into it. Today we're exploring a seriously powerful lesson about the choices we make. We're going to talk about faith. We're going to talk about this concept called edification. And most importantly, we're looking at how the daily choices you make don't just impact you, they actually impact literally everyone around you.
So right off the bat, why should we care about how our choices affect others? I mean, think about it. It's so easy to just wake up, go to school, do your work, hang out with your friends, and completely focus on yourself. It's easy to say, hey, it's my life, I can do what I want, right? But is that actually the best way to live? Think back to a time when someone else's careless, split-second choice totally ruined your day. Or, on the flip side, maybe a time when a friend's thoughtful choice totally turned a bad week around. We live in a community. Whether it's your classroom, your lunch table, your youth group, or even just your family, your actions send out ripples. And as believers, we're called to a much higher standard than just looking out for number one.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, Pursuing Peace and Edification, the Goal of Our Actions.
If we're going to make choices that actually affect other people positively, we need a target to aim at, right? Like, what is the ultimate goal of the way we speak, the way we act, and how we treat our classmates? Well, check out our memory verse, Romans chapter 14, verse 19. It says, "Therefore let us pursue the things which make for peace, and the things by which one may edify another." Now, I really want you to notice that word right there, pursue. Paul doesn't just say, hey, if peace accidentally happens, that's cool. No, he says to pursue it. You got to chase it down. Make it your actual mission. As an 8th grader, you are uniquely positioned to be a peacemaker in your school. When there's gossip spreading like wildfire, you can be the one to shut it down. When there's a fight, you can be that voice of calm. But what about that second part of the verse? The things by which one may edify another?
Edification. Okay, I know it's a big, kind of fancy academic word, but the definition is actually wonderfully simple. It just means building another person up. I want you to picture a construction site. When you're on a team or doing a group project in class, are you handing your teammates bricks to help build a strong tower, or are you just swinging a wrecking ball? Every single word you speak to a friend, every text message you send, every joke you crack, it is either edifying, meaning it's building them up and making them stronger, or it's tearing them down. There's really no in-between. Our absolute goal, our target every single day should be to walk into a room and leave the people in it stronger and more encouraged than when we first found them.
Moving right along to Section 2, Guarding Against Stumbling Blocks. This is the caution part, our impact on others.
Okay, I need you to put your hard hats back on for a second because we have to take this warning very seriously. We just talked about building a bridge of peace, but on the flip side of that, we can actually accidentally destroy the work of God. Let me give you some context. In the book of Romans, Paul was writing to a group of believers who were, get this, actually arguing over food. Some people felt completely free to eat certain things, and others felt it was totally wrong. So Paul stepped in and essentially said, listen guys, you might have the personal freedom to eat whatever you want, but if your freedom causes a fellow believer to stumble, you are literally destroying God's work over a sandwich. Now, for you today, maybe it's not food. Maybe it's the kind of media you consume, the jokes you tell, or just how you spend your free time. You might think, hey, I'm free to do this, it's really not a big deal. But what if it causes a younger student or a friend who is maybe struggling in their faith to stumble? That's actually a huge deal. Love should always guide the stronger believer to be extra careful.
And here is the absolutely crucial point of all this. Pleasing God means caring about the spiritual growth of others. Being spiritually mature doesn't just mean you know a whole bunch of Bible trivia. True spiritual maturity means you look around your classroom and you say, how can I help my friends grow closer to God today? If you have to give up a personal preference, a tiny freedom, or a silly little argument just to help someone else feel loved and secure in their faith, you do it. No questions asked. Because that is what true, mature love actually looks like. It's putting the spiritual health of your brothers and sisters in Christ way above your own personal comfort.
All right, Section 3, Acting from True Faith, the Root of Our Choices.
So we've talked about the goal and we've talked about the danger. Now we kind of have to look inward to the root of why we make the choices we make. Paul teaches a really deep concept here. He says whatever is not from faith is sin. But what does that practically mean for you? Well, it means you should never act against your conscience. God gave you that internal compass for a very specific reason. If you're about to do something, or say something, or watch something, and you get that uneasy feeling in your gut, you know the one, that feeling that says, I really don't think God is honored by this. Listen to it. Do not act without surrendered trust before God.
You see, your salvation is very much a work in progress. You're learning every single day how to walk in peace and love and faith and obedience. It's a journey. And as you walk that path, acting out of genuine faith and trust in God's goodness, you naturally begin to help others stand strong in the Lord right alongside you. Your faith literally becomes contagious.
And that brings us to Section 4, the Godly Learner Philosophy here at HeroesMart Academy.
So how does all of this spiritual truth actually connect to your schoolwork here at HeroesMart Academy? Well, it's because education without morality can actually hurt. Think about, the smartest villains in history, or even just the ones in movies. They have absolutely brilliant minds, right? But without a moral compass, they just use all that intelligence to cause harm. HeroesMart Academy specifically intertwines biblical morality with your education because just being smart isn't quite enough. Knowledge and intelligence, those are tools, and we want those tools to help you make wise, God-honoring choices, rather than simply making you more capable of just doing whatever you want. A brilliant mind guided by a loving, faithful heart, now that is a force that can truly change the world for the better.
Romans chapter 8, verses 6 and 7 teaches us that keeping the mind spiritually minded leads to life and peace. So, when you sit down to grind through that math homework, or when you're writing a tough essay, or studying for a science exam, I really want to encourage you to pursue academic excellence. Work hard, but do it while keeping your mind entirely centered on God, on truth, on wisdom, and on righteous choices. Because when your academic journey is fueled by a spiritually minded focus, the result is going to be an incredible, abundant life and just a profound sense of peace.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question. We've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about edification, about not being a stumbling block, and about what it really means to be a godly learner. But honestly, it all comes down to what you are going to do the very second this explainer ends. So, how will you build a bridge of peace for someone else today? Who is that one person in your class who really needs a word of encouragement right now? Who needs to be built up? I challenge you. Don't just sit there and think about it. Go do it. Pursue peace today. Thank you so much for learning with me, and I absolutely cannot wait to explore our next topic together.